Welcome back to the deep dive. If you work in, well, pretty much any business today, you know this feeling. The lines between HR, IT, even strategy, they've just completely blurred, haven't
Oh,
they?
absolutely.
Managing your people, which is, let's face it, your most crucial asset, it's now fundamentally a technology challenge.
hmm
And keeping up with how fast all those processes are going digital, it's honestly exhausting.
It really is. The pace is incredible.
So our sources today offer, let's say, the ultimate shortcut. We're doing a deep dive into the whole evolution, the really cutting-edge features, and the strategic rollout of modern HR management software.
Right.
You might call it HRMS, maybe HRIS, or sometimes just onboarding software. But whatever name you use, it's basically the new digital backbone of the modern company.
That's a good way to put it, the backbone.
Our mission for you today is pretty simple. We want to quickly distill the absolute most vital strategies and stats you need so you can understand exactly why these systems are transforming the entire employee lifecycle. We're talking from clicking hire all the way to the final offboarding checklist.
And that transformation, well, it isn't cheap, but you're right, it feels increasingly necessary. What's really fascinating here is just the sheer scale of investment that underlines how urgent this is.
Okay.
I mean, the HR tech market is predicted to almost double in just a few years. Think about that. Growing from about $47.4 billion to a whopping $90 billion by 2025.
90 billion.
Yeah. And that kind of trajectory, it isn't just about finding efficiencies anymore. It really shows that sophisticated people management has become, a non-negotiable strategic imperative.
Okay, so let's anchor ourselves in. Let's get a solid definition down. Today, an HRMS or HRIS.
Mm.
It's way more than just a digital filing cabinet, right?
Oh, much more. Yeah.
It's really that centralized digital backbone we mentioned. It houses all the essential employee data, helps manage regulatory compliance, integrates payroll, and crucially, it acts as the main hub for the whole employee experience. The focus now seems to be optimizing time, especially during that often chaotic initial employee onboarding.
Exactly. And when you look at why that $90 billion is being poured in, the answer is that immediate, measurable return on investment. These systems are really designed to deliver efficiency almost from day one.
Okay, give me an example.
Well, for instance, we're seeing data that these comprehensive onboarding systems, they can cut the time needed for onboarding by 60%.
60%, 60 Pro. 6 years sounds massive.
Yeah.
But what's the catch there? Does that just mean the new employee gets slammed with hours of complex online forms instead?
See, that's the critical difference. A successful HRMS, a well-designed one, doesn't just automate tasks, it automates the badly designed tasks. It relieves HR staff of that really repetitive, frankly boring work.
Okay.
So that 60% time saving isn't shifting the burden. It's freeing up the HR team to focus on the high-value stuff like culture, meaningful training, strategic forecasting, the human element.
Right, the stuff people actually want HR to be doing.
Precisely. And this is where you see that strategic imperative really come to life. The whole digitalization of HR, it's now truly about delivering solutions, useful data, and importantly, a positive employee experience. We saw a great quote from a chief human resources officer who basically said, the goal now is to decrease the extreme burden on the executive section.
Interesting. What does that mean in practice?
It means providing actionable intelligence, not just, compiling historical data reports that sit on a shelf. If you have real-time metrics on employee engagement or training compliance, executives can actually make proactive, data-driven decisions almost instantly.
That makes a lot of sense. It lets HR shift from being sort of administrators to being genuine business strategists.
Exactly.
And what's great is this tech isn't just for one type of company, is it? The customization and scope seem really broad. It applies across really diverse, often heavily regulated industries, thinking healthcare, technology, manufacturing, education.
All of them.
And our sources show it scales pretty flawlessly, too. It seems to fit the needs of a small, maybe fast-paced startup, just as well as it serves a huge global enterprise with, tens of thousands of employees.
That scalability is key.
But that versatility must mean the feature list can get overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
If these systems do everything, how do you even start to categorize what they actually do for the average employee logging in each day?
Absolutely. It can feel like a lot.
Yeah.
To cut through that noise, you really have to organize the very extensive feature list by the stages of the employee journey itself.
Okay.
These systems now cover pretty much everything from performance management and time clock integration to specialized tools like Recruit ATS, that's applicant tracking systems for managing job candidates before they're even hired.
Okay, let's focus on the experience once someone's actually in the door. Let's start with pillar one, maybe, recognition and engagement. This feels like where HRMS starts to really boost morale and, crucially, long-term retention.
Yes, definitely.
Our sources are pretty clear on this. Things like recognition and rewards platforms are basically essential now. Why? Because 64% of employees believe that celebrating accomplishments actually creates job satisfaction. It matters.
It absolutely matters, and it's no longer just, a symbolic pat on the back.
Right.
These platforms integrate some really sophisticated tools. Think company challenges, campaign managers for internal events or initiatives, and continuous polls and surveys. These give you powerful real-time insights from your team about their mood, their morale, what's working, what isn't.
So you get a constant pulse check.
Exactly. And this feeds directly into the second pillar, communication and culture. The HRMS platform really serves as that central hub of truth for the entire organization.
Single source of truth.
Precisely. It facilitates all internal communication, making sure there's consistency, whether you're just sending out a quick update or, importantly, utilizing dedicated features for things like crisis communication. That centralization is absolutely vital when things happen quickly and you need everyone to get the same accurate message fast.
Can't overstate that.
And it goes beyond just broadcasting messages. You can use customizable channels, specific broadcast features, and this is crucial, you can actually track employee acknowledgments.
Ah, so you know they got it.
Yes, critical, maybe compliance-required information was actually received and understood. Plus, you have tools like an employee intranet built in, or even digital signage integrations to extend your communication reach. You engage everyone, whether they're at a desk or, say, working on a production floor.
Okay, so this is where we tie it all together then. The retention payoff. This sounds like the real ROI jackpot.
It really is.
There's a key stat from Clickboarding you mentioned. It emphasizes that 69%, almost 70% of employees are likely to stay with the company for 3 years if they experience great onboarding.
3 years longer, just from a good start.
So that seamless welcome, which is pretty much entirely managed by this technology, it translates directly into a long-term commitment and obviously reduced replacement costs. You're essentially buying loyalty with the right tech investment.
Well put. You're investing in that initial experience, and it pays dividends down the line.
So if a company is sold on the why, how do they navigate the what, the selection process?
Right. So before any business really decides to buy into this kind of loyalty, let's say, they absolutely must identify the specific HR tasks that genuinely need automation.
Okay.
You have to look past the shiny feature list and determine your essential functional requirements. Do you really need powerful predictive analytics right now, or is robust reporting the priority? What are your specific security thresholds?
And we often think these systems are just for, maybe, mid-sized companies growing fast. But your sources pointed out even giants like McKinsey have adopted automated onboarding software. Why?
Yeah, that's a great point. For them, it was specifically to elevate those routine administrative tasks. They wanted to refocus their highly paid personnel away from paperwork and onto gathering and analyzing the strategic employee data that the system generates. It becomes about data quality and insight, not just data quantity.
Data quality, not quantity. Got it. So looking beyond the features themselves, what are the practical selection factors, things that determine the sort of total cost of ownership?
Good question. First, absolutely non-negotiable, user-friendliness.
Makes sense. If it's hard to use.
Exactly. If the system is clunky or unintuitive, your adoption rate just tanks. People won't use it or they'll use it badly. And then your training costs skyrocket. The software has to minimize training time and maximize daily user engagement. It should feel easy.
Okay, user-friendliness first. What else?
Second, scalability. You need a solution that fits your company size now, but also where you're going. Whether you're 10 employees today aiming for 100 tomorrow, or you're already a global entity, the system needs to grow with you without needing a total rip and replace.
Right, future-proofing it.
And then we hit the big one, the integration hurdle.
Yeah, making it talk to everything else.
Implementation is always a huge part of any major system change, and honestly, the biggest headache is usually integration. You must look for software that connects, ideally flawlessly, with your existing financial systems, your payroll systems, whatever else you rely on.
So compatibility with the big names, like ADP, UKG, Intuit, Paylocity.
Yes, compatibility with popular platforms is table stakes. But really, we're talking about the nitty-gritty of API integration and data mapping. This is where peer-level insight helps customizability is often essential
Why customizability?
because you need to tailor the system to your unique business processes. And critically, you need to ensure a single, comprehensive data source across your entire tech stack. Otherwise, you just end up recreating data silos, which defeats half the purpose.
Right, you want one version of the truth.
Exactly.
Okay, so selecting the software sounds tough, but you mentioned implementation is the real battle.
Yeah.
Why is speed so critical there?
Well, speed matters a lot, especially when you consider stats like the one from Employshare. 80% of employees say they prefer to get immediate feedback rather than waiting months for a formal performance review.
80%. That's huge.
It is. So your shiny new software needs to be ready to deliver that kind of speed and accuracy pretty much from day one, or you risk user frustration right out of the gate.
Okay, so no, we'll figure it out later approach.
Definitely not. And that's why implementation needs a comprehensive battle plan, not just a sort of hope and a prayer launch. We know businesses often stumble here by focusing too much on the technology itself and ignoring the people side.
So the checklist.
Hmm.
It's more than just technical steps.
Absolutely. While a checklist covering, data migration, system testing, budget management, that's all crucial, yes. But often the most critical steps, the ones that get overlooked, are change management and user training.
The human factors.
Precisely. You can hire a consultant to handle the tricky technical bits, maybe the data migration. But managing employee expectations, getting buy-in, and properly training users, that's a purely internal challenge you have to own.
And you mentioned 2 pillars for long-term success.
Yes, beyond the initial launch, we see 2 essential pillars for making sure the system remains effective. The first is what we might call organizational design.
Meaning?
This means using the system to promote consistency across the organization. You need a centralized, standardized, and scalable data space. And this is more vital than ever because, what was the stat? Something like 74% of companies are now implementing or planning hybrid or work-from-home models.
Right, remote work makes central systems even more critical.
Exactly. Digital and remote onboarding become the norm. And if your underlying data isn't organized and consistent, your remote onboarding experience will likely fail, or at least be very messy.
Okay, so organizational design for consistency. What's the second pillar?
The second pillar is employee data management. And this is where that actionable intelligence really comes into play, as you said earlier.
Right, it's not just collecting data.
Exactly. It's about utilization. HR teams can leverage this clean, consistent data to actually track, manage, and even help plan entire employee career paths. Think individual growth plans, tracking promotion milestones, identifying skill gaps, all throughout the employee lifecycle. It becomes a tool for development.
Now, we have to address the elephant in the room for executives. Security. Implementation means moving highly sensitive employee data. And there's that KPMG report.
Right.
It found a massive 92% of senior execs are actually apprehensive about potential negative impacts of data and analytics. Mostly security and liability fears, right?
It's a huge number, 92%, and totally understandable. The reassurance here comes directly through the security framework these modern systems offer.
How so?
Well, this isn't just technical jargon slapped on. Implementing these systems properly, with their built-in security, means your liability risks should actually plummet. Why? Because your employee data is being handled according to the highest global standards.
For example,
These systems routinely use advanced encryption standards, specifically AES 256-bit encryption, to safeguard login credentials and sensitive data. And they're rigorously configured to comply with global regulations like GDPR, often using things like SSL certificates for secure connections. It's baked in.
so the tech itself helps mitigate the risk.
If implemented correctly, yes. And finally, it's crucial to remember that implementation isn't a one-time set-it-and-forget-it event. It has to be continuous.
Meaning ongoing monitoring.
Absolutely. To maximize that significant ROI you're aiming for with this software, you must monitor usage constantly. This means defining key onboarding metrics up front, actually using the reporting features, maybe conducting user surveys periodically, and analyzing user behavior within the system to refine that employee experience over time.
You bought the tool. Now you have to learn how to wield it effectively.
That's a perfect way to put it. You have to continuously optimize.
Okay, let's try to wrap this up. So what does this all really mean for businesses listening? The modern HRMS platform. It feels like it's moved way beyond just simple data entry.
Miles beyond.
It's now acting almost as a strategic business supervisor, wouldn't you say? Driving productivity, boosting engagement, facilitating smoother, data-backed internal conversations.
Yeah, business supervisor is an interesting term for it.
And the stats seem to bear this out. Wasn't it 48% of companies specifically focused on increasing productivity and engagement back in 2022? And the HRMS is basically their primary vehicle for getting that done.
It's the core enabling technology for those goals, yes. These systems really allow businesses to make genuinely smarter decisions
Wow.
by helping to eliminate non-performing administrative burdens and really streamlining overall labor management. But the true power, I think, lies in utilizing that data proactively
Proactively how?
to track and manage the entire career path,
Yeah.
to create that vital sense of ownership, purpose, and belonging for every single employee from day one onwards. That's the higher level goal.
Okay, so final thought for our listeners. You mentioned these platforms are designed to track every milestone, right? From the new hire welcome packet right through to the offboarding analysis.
Every step, ideally.
So consider this. If that earlier stat is true, that 69% of new hires stay 3 years longer simply because they had a great tech-enabled onboarding experience. How much more impactful really is that initial investment in the right software compared to, say, a standard salary raise a year or two down the line? Which investment yields more long-term loyalty? It's definitely some food for thought as you strategize your next big HR technology upgrade.
It really is rethinking where the value truly lies in retaining your people.